Hey guys, and welcome to today's podcast. So today's going to be a little bit different. I'm going to talk about an experience I had as a musician, being a member of a band, and having someone just talk negatively about the band I was in, another member of the band. So years ago, I was in this heavy metal band, and we played shows, and we talked to people about our band a lot, and my idea and everyone else's idea in the band was, let's talk the band up. Let's go, tell everybody about it, and just spread the word. And we had like a little demo we would give out to people sometimes on a CD. I think it was like 3 or 4 tracks, so people could hear it for themselves. I mean, it was a demo, so it wasn't like this super great recording, but it wasn't bad, and people loved it. And we actually, I think I still have it actually, so people could still listen to it if they wanted to. But one of the guys in the band, when, like, let's say there were a few of us going around talking about this band, this one guy in the band, we were like, oh yeah, you gotta check out our band. It's awesome. If you like this kind of music, you're gonna love our band. We're just awesome. We're so great. And then he would just go, we're okay. We could always be better. And I didn't understand why he would say that to people. It's like he's like telling everyone that our band is mediocre, and everyone else in the band would just get upset. They're like, "Oh, what are you doing? You can't do that! Like, come on, we're promoting the band. You can't tell people that we're." But he's like, "But it's true. We could be better." I'm like, "Well, of course we could be better. We're on the inside. So as a musician, you're always looking to get to the next level. You always want to improve on your skills. You always want to do that. You always want to improve on your skills. You always want to do better." But it was really interesting that he wanted to tell people that. I don't feel that's something you want to tell people, especially if you're trying to grow a fan base. You don't want to tell people, we're okay. You should check us out, but we're all right. Like, who's going to want to check out an okay band? Nobody. Nobody's going to want to do that. So it was a big conflict that we had. And, with, like, maybe you shouldn't promote the band to people, because we don't really trust what you're going to say to people about the band. If you're going to go tell people, oh, we're okay, we could be better. This is not what we want for the band. We want people to think highly of us and then come see us and know that we're really good. That's the idea, is to have that. But it was just really bizarre that he would have this way of communicating the band, which made us sound not so good. And we were a great band. I mean, we played with a lot of awesome bands, and the crowds loved us. And so it wasn't that we were disappointing when people would come see us. That wasn't the issue. In his head, he had this idea that we could be better, which is true. Any band could be better. I mean, you take some of the biggest bands in the world, like the Rolling Stones, and they go backstage and go, we did a good show, but we could do better. Of course. But those guys have been playing for like 50 something years, almost 60 years, and they could still look at how they could be better. But they're not going to go out there and tell people that, And it was the same. We had the same idea, and I decided the problem really is the mindset that he had. And there's no problem with having that mindset that we could be better, but that's not something you want to advertise. When you're advertising your band, you're advertising them as your band being great, being awesome. People should check it out. You don't want to say anything bad. And you don't want to say anything bad about your bandmates either. Even if they leave the band or someone gets kicked out of the band, you still don't want to say something bad or negative about the person, because then people are going to start thinking, well, is it him or is it the other guys? It's always best to just kind of keep things at peace with the other people. But it was interesting that he would do this, and he did this a lot. It wasn't like a 1 or 2 time thing. This is every time he was around and we talked about the band with other people, he would always say that. And so after a while, we just would not tell people about the band when he was around. We just wouldn't mention it. And I always look back at that like, oh man, and one day I realized, I said, you know what? He was like poison to the band. I'm not going to say who it was, but the guy he was like poisonous to the band. He was an enemy of the band. Anyone who downplays a band really is not doing the band any favors. And he had this idea that any type of promotion is good promotion. Any kind of publicity is good publicity. And while that may be true, you don't want to go around telling people your band is no good. So if you guys are running into a problem with a bandmate kind of talking down your band, you better look for a replacement, because this guy was the downfall of the band for the most part, and other people saw that. And as the band, as the lineup changed in the band over time, other people were like, this guy, we should probably get rid of him. This guy does. It wasn't just that. There was other things, other factors going on with this guy, but that was one of the things that was like the first thing that was like, whoa, this is a problem. But what was also hard was replacing him, just because of what he did in the band. He was a good musician, and it was hard to find a replacement. But it's not like it was impossible. The thing was that we didn't know how to really overcome that kind of situation. And I look back on it now, and I have 500 solutions I could have had for that problem, which is I would just put ads in papers or magazines, or now on websites. This is before websites and internet was a huge thing. There was no Facebook back then, so you couldn't do that. There was no YouTube either back then. So those were not outlets at the time. But we could have, put ads up, or we could have just went to, music stores and just talked to people and found somebody to replace him. But we ended up not doing that. We just kind of suffered with having this person being really negative in the band. So if you do have that going on, you have to do whatever you can to find someone to replace this person, because this person is going to drag you down. He's going to drag your band down, and you can't have that kind of negativity in your band. Now, if he said it behind closed doors only and exclusively, said, dude, we're okay, but we got to practicing it better at playing our own songs. That's fine. That's who you want in your band. But if they're going to go out there and promote that to other people, that's not someone you want in your band. So always keep a lookout for that, because that person who's going to talk like that about the band is an enemy of the band. You got to get rid of them as quick as possible. And then always, if anyone ever asked either, if the person's going, oh, what happened to that guy? I said, well, we don't really jam well together, and we decided it would be better off for everybody if we went our separate ways. So we got somebody different, and they're going to do a great job filling in for him, and good luck to his future ventures. But you don't want to make anything negative, especially in that, because then people will go after it and they'll attack it, and people can think negatively of anything if you put that kind of negative connotation to something. So it was a real life lesson I learned about, dealing with people in a group and having like an equal say. Like, we were a 5-piece band, so we had an equal say in what happened. And even though it was 5-piece and we had like a majority rule type of thing, it didn't always work out that well, because sometimes the majority had a bad idea and wanted to go for it. But it was good, because then we learned things from that experience. It was like, oh, we made a wrong decision. Well, we know not to do that one again. And like, for instance, like having that guy in the band, I think we all learned that having someone like that in the band was not going to be beneficial to promoting the band or let people think very highly of us. So it's definitely somebody you don't want to have hanging around in your band talking about the group, and even when you do break it up with the person, because this person's already talking not nicely of the band, think about how bad it's going to be if it is a bad breakup with the person. If you kick the person out, it becomes a big thing. So you always have to do this like gently, like, hey, look, I don't want there to be any hard feelings or whatever. Of course the person can be upset. They like being in the band. Well, maybe they don't, and that's probably why they're talking about it like that. They probably don't actually like the band, but usually they still do like being in the band and they enjoy it. But there is that point where they have to know that this is not really right for them, and that they should move on. And if you can give that to that idea to them gently, then it's easier, because then they're not going to be prone to say bad things about the band. But if your band rocks and you're doing really good, then it doesn't matter how much bad stuff this guy ends up saying after he's out of the band, because any publicity is good publicity. And if he's going to go around telling people about the band and how much you guys suck, and then you never say anything bad about him, well, people are going to be more interested in hearing your band than listening to him saying don't listen to them. So it would work out in the end, but you try to, maintain some friendliness there, some, something like that. So that's it for that. I think that's all I have to say about that. So that's a little lesson. Just remember, if someone's talking like that about your band and they're in the band, they're probably an enemy of the band, and you got to start looking at getting a replacement. All right, so that's it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening.